Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from anthonymorganti.com, and this is episode 100 of Photo Critiques. And in Photo Critiques, people send me in some of their best work, and I critique each shot with suggestions on how they can improve it. And today, I'm pleased to critique the work of Valdis Skudre. I hope I pronounced that close. I apologize if I didn't pronounce your name right. Valdis is from Riga, Latvia, and he told me that most of these shots were taken with a Nikon D90 and a Sigma 17 to 70 lens. And this first shot's very nice. One thing when you're photographing in snow, it's harder than you think if you guys haven't done it before. When you photograph in snow, your camera, the electronics in your camera that control exposure and everything, they're going to underexpose the shot usually a little bit because it's trying to get everything to, mid-tone gray. So it's going to underexpose a little bit, so you have to use some exposure compensation usually and overexpose the shot slightly so that your camera doesn't necessarily underexpose the shot. And also, it will tend to mess with the white balance a little bit. It tends to want to make the snow, which is white, it tends to want to make it gray. So your white balance usually is off. Now, Valdis did an excellent job on this shot. As you can see, it's perfectly exposed. The white balance is perfect. The snow is snow white, just like you like it. The sky is very nice. We have the composition itself. We have the leading line of the road, helps lead your eye through the photograph. The only suggestion I can make, though, is it needs a strong subject to really push it over the top. Now, you could argue the snow is the strong subject, maybe, but typically think about it when you see a photograph of a snow scene, something that would be on a greeting card or maybe in a travel magazine. The snow scene will have a strong subject in it. It's going to have a cabin with smoke coming out of the chimney. It's going to have a Christmas tree. It's going to have a snowman. It's going to have people on ski slopes. Those are the strong subjects that add to the snow scene. So we have a perfectly exposed, nice composition of a snow scene. We don't have that strong subject. Maybe something on this path. That would be the obvious thing. What? I don't know. Use your imagination. Maybe a person walking down, the car driving down, a gaggle of birds eating something right here. Who knows? Just it needs something else. It needs that strong subject. This shot too is excellent exposure. It's a really nice composition. We have some lens flare coming in from over here, but it's not distracting. You guys, when you're in the field, you could check to see if you're getting lens flare. Just if your camera has a preview button, preview the shot with the preview button. What it does is it closes down the aperture of your camera, and it will give you an idea. You'll be able to look right through the viewfinder and see if you're getting any lens flare coming across the front of the lens. And if you don't want the lens flare there, I mean, obviously, of course, make sure you use a lens hood. That's utmost important. The other thing is you could probably put your hand or hold a hat up, out of the frame, but above the camera. In this case, it would be somewhere up over in here, and try to block the light hitting the front of your lens element, the front of your lens, and that will get rid of the lens flare. So, just check it out, see if the lens flare is distracting or ruining your shot. But as I mentioned in this shot, it doesn't. In this shot, again, we have a very excellent, very nice exposure. We have white snow like we should have. It's not gray and it's not blue. Sometimes the white balance will go cool on you and it will make the snow look a little blue. But in this case, it didn't. It looks nice. We have this subtle leading line right here going through the shot. We have this of the shoreline, of course. Very nice. Again, though, we're missing that strong, like subject that should be in the shot. I think would push it over the top. As it is, though, it's an excellent exposure and an excellent composition. This shot too, I could say the same thing about this shot. Now this one shifted a little cooler, so you can see we're starting to get a little more bluish in the snow, but that's okay. It kind of shows you it's really cold. And we have the footbridge, nice kind of leading line, and we have nice recent snowfall. Looks very pretty. We are though lacking that strong central element. What could it be? Well, that's where your creativity as a photographer comes in. If you have someone with you, maybe they could be doing something. If you have it's not that cold and you have patience, maybe you could wait till birds, maybe you could plant some bird seed here and birds will come in, something, to add to the shot. It's a, really nice shot. Again, we got that lens flare. It's not distracting though. It adds, I think, to the shot in this case. This was 1/500th of a second at f11 ISO 100, and you could see it at f11 we got this really nice starburst effect with the sun, so it looks really nice. It's a really nice exposure. I love the processing. It's not overdone. It's done just enough in my opinion. The only thing again I think in this shot is we're lacking that strong subject. If I don't know if you're up on a hill here, if you could walk around, if you could get, it looks like there's a bunch of buildings over here, but maybe you could get where a house is, some, be nice if some smoke was coming out of the chimney, um, something like that. You need something else in the shot just to add to it. We do have this tree right here, in here, and this one here, which are a little distracting, this one popping up here. So if you could reposition yourself, work the scene, and try to eliminate these from the shot, and see if you can incorporate something else into the shot that would help draw our eye or add that other element that we're looking for. This is just an excellent shot. This is really a nice shot. This is obviously a very foggy evening. Very nice exposure. It was 1.5 seconds at f of 3.3, ISO 200. It was 17 millimeters. We have the nice leading line, almost a diagonal line of the bridge coming down, and we have this building off. It helps lead your eye with the reflection in the water. Helps lead the viewer's eye through the photograph to see the buildings and the lights in the background. We have a lot of negative space up here. We have negative space over here, but it adds to the shot, although it's not technically negative space. We have reflections. So it looks really nice. It's just a really, really nice composition. We have stronger subjects in this shot, being the bridge and the building here, and of course the lights, and just the overall, whereas we had snow before, here we have fog. So it's a really, really nice composition, a really nice exposure, and a very, very nice shot. Now this shot is obviously it's tone mapped, and this, I mean, it's a nice house, nice structure. It's not super compelling. It's not like a really over the top type home, but it's a very nice one. Um, it's I think what makes this shot work though is the tone mapping. So that's where you could do something if you have, let's say, a mundane image. It's a nice exposure. You could push it over the top though with post-processing if you're so inclined. A lot of people don't like post-processing, so if you don't, by all means, don't do it. That's not your thing. Don't do it. But in this case, I think it makes the shot work. In itself, the composition, as you can see, the house is kind of falling away from us. It's at 18 millimeters, so it's very wide angle. It's distorting the home a little bit, so it's kind of falling away. The angles are dropping in. You can see how this corner is going in towards the middle of the picture, and this one's going in towards the middle of the picture, and it's all distortion from the lens. Now you could correct that if you wanted to, or attempt to correct for that in Lightroom. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Go over here and we hit auto. See how this is nice and straight now, and this one's nice and straight now. It's still a little bit falling away, but that gives you an idea what I was talking about. Here's off, and here's on. I'll just leave it on for a second. That's something if you want. Now if you're a reason why I bring this up, a lot of people, if you want to be a photographer that there's people that make good money, photographers that make good money, and they photograph for like hotels and bed and breakfast, and they'll photograph the rooms and they photograph the building and stuff like that. And you should at least correct for these lens distortions when you're doing that type of work. They're going to be putting this on their website, these photographs on their website. They're going to be maybe putting them in brochures and things like that. So in that case, you really got to be careful that you get these angles real straight, as straight as you can. And I hit auto. That was a real quick way to do it. You could also go to manual, and you could manually tilt things around and try to get it as straight and square as possible. So that's something to keep in mind if you ever want to do that type of work. And actually, that's the last shot for Valdis. I hope again I pronounced your name right. You really some very nice shots, Valdis. I think you're really just an element away from really pushing your shots over the top. And when I say an element away, I mean that element would be a strong subject, particularly in those first four snow shots. I think in these shots here, if we just had a strong subject in the shot, I think the shots would have been really much better. It would have made a very, very good shot a great shot. In this one too. These last two shots, though, this one particularly I think is your best shot. This is an excellent shot. This is very, very nice. This one here, as I mentioned, you kind of took like a mundane shot of a home and you made it very interesting by tone mapping it. It's hard to do. We had this tree, hard to compose, I should say. We have this tree coming in over here. We have some power lines here and the trees in the background. But it's a very, very nice job, Valdis, and I thank you for sharing your work with us. I'd like to thank everyone that watches all my videos. I really do appreciate it. And if you have time, go over to my website, anthonymorganti.com. I have all kinds of photography stuff over there. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate it if you went to YouTube and subscribed to my YouTube channel. That's it for now. I'll talk to you guys soon.